All right, what's happening, y'all? Welcome to the Thursday 1 p.m. Eastern Time Bookmap stream using the best order flow tracking tool on the old market. Glad y'all could join with us. Had a little downside here, so the market is kind of shaking and a bacon from 16,582. Didn't quite get to pre-market highs, almost got to pre-market highs, and now it looks like we're going to break the little bearish wedge to the downside here. Bookmap has been a fireworks show of icebergs the last couple of days. And before I really get started here, let me get the stream going on Bookmap, or I'm on Discord. 15 frame rate. And booyakasha, we are live. Good stuff. 16,506 here. We have an iceberg smaller and higher, lower and higher on NASDAQ. Small potatoes, though. ES is putting on a substantial amount of liquidity from 47.45 to 47.70, 47.60. Plenty of liquidity to go around the market. We've had upside and downside. Microsoft is getting killed. Apple is pretty much back and forth between 182 after a couple of different downgrades there. Crazy stuff. Bonds put a new low in. VIX is back up to 14 holding. And oil has been on a roller coaster today. It's been a crazy day, y'all. Crazy day. Let's see what we can come up with. Right. Meow. 47.48. We've got NASDAQ is currently 16,505. Holding right here. Defending 500 like a champ. And finally putting on another red candle. A little bit more pressure. Does anyone know how to make the beeping stop? Negative. That's the voice channel of Discord. I have to deal with it too, so I feel you. We do have this little 10 iceberg at 16,484. 16,484 would put us right back inside the morning consolidation post. Now that we've reclaimed the high. Now let me go ahead and tell you about today's session. This is a low probability event. We don't see action like this very often. What do I mean? Let's kind of go through here on, just because I'm tracking NASDAQ at the moment, let's take a look at NASDAQ. We've got the first hour range low, which is here. We've got the first hour range high, which is here. So what do we have? We had the consolidation, the initiation of the buying, the first pivot, and that turns out to be the morning high pivot. We fell back off. Let me make sure y'all can see this real quick. Okay. We fell back off, thus solidifying the buy side liquidity here. And then we came back up, consolidated for a couple of candles, and then eventually moved higher, thus creating this into a trend up morning, trend up day. When this occurs, it is low probability for us to revisit the low of the day. If we break back inside the range, usually we consolidate somewhere in this area and then continue back up to retest, if not put a new high in the afternoon. So if we were to fall back off, this would be a lower probability event. Not impossible, but lower probability. I'm not saying buy the low here because of this. I'm just saying, just from a statistical standpoint, low probability event. Now, if this were in the first hour of the day to blast up without really any much of a pivot, and the high of the day is that, then that's a different story, because the morning high pivot is up here. If this were to, if the 9:30 would have come up here, for example, that's a different event. It's just a large range, and it could visit the back down. But once with the algorithms put in the morning high pivot, open above or close above it and hold above it, that's where you usually put in some sort of support. Now, obviously, we broke down inside the range, but I would not necessarily look for too much of a move to 16,443 at the moment, although it could definitely happen. If we're looking, this kind of does look like a little bit of a mini bearish wedge now, doesn't it? Right here. So now that's strictly from the morning range session developed by Linda Raschke, that first hour morning session. If we dive down deeper into NASDAQ, look Bookmap, we have 16,484 iceberg tracking. The CVD has flipped from very green to very red. We're right as we're touching WeVap here. I feel much better this morning. I had to get a little food in my stomach. I'm ready to go. On Discord, we only see your book map. That's correct. Yeah, that's all you'll see right now. But on YouTube, yes, you'll see the whole kit and caboodle. Let's see if this bearish wedge breaks. Let's see here. What's up, Devin, Jeremiah, Vincent, Jamie, Corey? How you doing? Let's polka. Polka, polka, polka. Good movie. Let me try that. Let's see. 1 second. See if I can fix that noise. I'll do it after the stream. 16504. That's how I got it to stop. There you go. All right, so you see that the price action here is consolidating just under VWAP. ES has a lot more liquidity flow than I can track than on NASDAQ. NASDAQ is, obviously it's typically like that, but today more so than usual. Definitely vast landscape. They do have 450 and 475 on with a little bit of pressure coming on. ES is 47.55 and 47.40. Can we get a breakdown here is the question. Down into 480. Once we take out 480, we're coming off. And then, of course, low of the day is 16.443. We're smack dab in the middle of that range. Oh, man. Microsoft, a lot of interesting sell pressure here. Pushing lower, and here comes NASDAQ down 16,500. They have intertwined some nice aggressive moves in the midst of a lot of frustrating chop. $47.49. Still looking. Let me go over to ES. ES is not quite vetted to a VWAP yet. Smack dab in the middle. POC is 47.54. CVD is coming back to very green on ES here too. Overall, 47.55 and 40. There's not really much outlier liquidity other than what we identified this morning. Down into, I believe, 4,600 is where we had some. 4,675. Yeah, 4,600. This cat right here is the main liquidity on the charts right now. Let's see, 47.49. NASDAQ is 16,507, 506. And still has this iceberg down here at 484. Still trying to do this thing here, but they're holding on to 507, 508. 47.49 on ES. Not a lot of movement right now. Let's see, it is 13.10. Can we grab this iceberg is the question I'm asking myself here. Especially with this little bearish, little small micro bearish wedge thingy we got going on here. Right here. 16,507 CVD is negative 1,500. Right there, building pressure. A little bit of sell pressure coming in. You see the bubble. But we're still not moving all that much. That would be not too big of a move here to grab this liquidity. Very, very much inside the ballpark of possibilities here. And that's what I'm eyeing. 16,504. There's a little bit of a slight move. A little bit of pressure. I need a little bit bigger of bubble here. A couple of these maybe for some sell liquidity, and to come grab this 485. Other than that, no, we're not. We're just kind of pinging, just hanging out. Hope everybody on YouTube is having a good day today. Good start to the new year. Couple of sessions in, 3 sessions in now. Microsoft is slowly hanging on to 370. What's Nvidia doing right now? Nvidia a little bit of a bounce off of VWAP. Meta coming off a little bit after a huge rally. 505. Just looking at a possible move here. There's a little bit more. A little bit more. There's that finally little bit of pressure I was looking for right there. But we got to break. We've just got under that small little micro bear wedge. You can call it that, whatever. But we're trying. Apple just needs to sell again. Glad you talked me out of TLT. Yeah, you're talking about dollar cost averaging. Remember, the TLT play that we're on top of is for the long haul. I'm not talking about a weekly or bi-weekly trade. If you swung a small position, then yeah, go for it. But taller, there we go. There's that little break of wedge. Beautiful. Watch this right here to 485. So far, it's about a 14-point move on NASDAQ. And this should grab the 484. They've been building on this position for a while. And now that we kind of broke this little micro bear channel, you see that the sell pressure finally come in here. I was looking for something like this right here, which we now have. CVD continues to punch lower. 1700 going for 483. Beautiful. Here it comes even lower right there. Amazing. $498. Apple just needs to sell again. Yeah. So this morning was perpetuated by Nvidia and Meta. They went on a rocket ship. And then Microsoft joined it a little bit later, and then Microsoft has now sold it all off. But Amazon's never really joined the fun, and Apple is still holding up right now. But kind of a mixed bag on tech. We did have 9 of the 10 of the sectors of SPY were green. Now it's back to 50-50. So a lot of mixture here. Oil gave a lot back this morning. Has now since recovered half of it. And there's another bottom wick. So still pinned back to 16,500. I didn't mute for about 30 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, back. Sorry about that. So still holding 16,500 despite the bottom wicks. Nvidia hit with millions worth of call sellers. Interesting. Well, what happens to the disposition of the market? The first thing to sell are those that have the highest profits, and of course Nvidia is the big dog in terms with that in mind. Ridiculous postings. Aside from this one real candle right here to mark us lower, NASDAQ has been back and forth since about 11:55. I don't like to really diddle in the middle here, but I'm just trying to see if whatever they put on. We still have this 450K. You see this right here? See him building this position? So they are building 450. 450 would put us back down to the morning low. About 7 points off the morning low, that is. I am kind of glued to NASDAQ, obviously, just because, ES is not presenting as much opportunity. A lot more choppy with the mixed bag of the S&P's X's. If I see the X kind of correlating one direction, I'll throw on some ES like I did this morning. We have 47, 60s, 70s for liquidity up top here with 47.40 bottom. What stock is this? ES and NASDAQ I'm tracking. We also have the Russell here and YM, which is Dow right here. I was hoping to have some nice volatility like we did last time we started the Bookmap stream. Remember last time right at 1 o'clock? Massive, massive red. $16,506. Microsoft is making a little bit of a base. Apple is getting turned. 182 going to daily high on Apple. Keep an eye there. Bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick. Yep, a lot of it. So it helps on this type of action to switch to the 15-minute charts. It does look like accumulation. It does. So switching to the 15, that's what we got. In fact, 5 of the last 6 candles on the 15-minute chart are heavily bottom wicked. So if you go look at it, I mean, yes, you see the bottom wicks here on the 5-minute, but if you go to the 15-minute, the 15 minutos here, we have bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick. Engulfing red into demand and bottom wick. So we do have a small uptick in volume here. I guess because it's the midday low, you can kind of see that as a VPA signal. But we need to get out of this little ascending wedge because what we have here at the higher highs and higher lows shows a weakening buyer. So we need momentum out of this little range here to get upwards into this area. I know that's kind of like a John Madden comment, but we need to get out of the bear wedge here is the question. Obviously, we're kind of commenting on pretty choppy action anyway, so. When you say they were building liquidity here, you're looking at the icebergs, I assume. What are they building pending orders? Well, I'm looking at the icebergs also, in addition to everything else. So I'm trying to figure out what their plans are here based on the order book flow. The only thing I've got on NASDAQ is just this iceberg here. We don't really have much liquidity at all except for this cat down here at 640 or 450, which they are building the order book here. And what I mean is that you see more orders coming into this area. Now, if I'm thinking about this in terms of level 2, if I'm simply looking at level 2 data instead of Bookmap, I'm going to see a lot more numerical order flow hitting 16,450, which would be a red flag for me. But here we see it visually in terms of adding order flow. Now, it's still very light. It's still very light. 39 is nothing that crazy, but it's still a pull. In addition to this cat here of 16,485 and the very small iceberg. So there is a little bit of pull lower here. Now, with icebergs, I look for them to be magnets and then repel them after they're transacted. So once I see these icebergs filled, I'll be looking for the possibility of them inversing that move, which means we'll come down, grab, and then start heading back higher. Now, it doesn't mean we tap it and go. That just means somewhere down here we're going to start transitioning the algorithms into buying after they start scooping up these buy icebergs. Now, that's usually applied on a substantially large environment for icebergs. Here, it's small potatoes. I'm really worried. This is some dude in his mom's basement right now putting on a couple icebergs. Ain't no big deal. Ain't no big deal. So I started a small stock position in BITI in my PCRA and 401k in case of the ETF news. There's a lot of acronyms in that sentence. In case the ETF's news is well received. There you go. 16509. Still holding right here. I'm on the 15-minute chart right here on NASDAQ. Not a lot of movement. Iran and North Korea are standing with Russia. Yeah, we didn't do that. All right. You're welcome, Douglas. You're welcome. Pretty boring at the moment, yes. I'll go over and take a look at RTY. Again. Ooh, I just noticed that. I gotta post something real quick. There we go. Why is Amazon down 2%? I don't know. A lot of tech is feeling a lot of pressure right now, ups and downs, a lot of volatility. Somebody else probably has a better answer than I do. All right, 1980. $37,860. The bigger question though is go look at the Dow and then go look at the S&P and NASDAQ the past 2 weeks. There's a lot more selling in the mega caps and the big names than there is in Dow and the other smaller caps. The Dow has felt very little pain the past 4, 5, 6 days, whereas NASDAQ and ES are down 2-3%, which shows you just a little bit of rotation. A little bit of profit taken from the big dogs, a little bit of love for the small dogs. Ooh, hot dogs. Sounds good. Does England eat hot dogs? Does anyone in England eat hot dogs? Is that a thing over there? If so, what do you call them? Just curious. Anyone from the UK over there? Call them glizzies? You should create a store called Grizzlies Glizzies. Grizzlies Glizzies. There you go. Hot Willies, mate. TikTok to start online retail product to compete with Amazon. Really? I can't imagine that would be a contender. Just kidding, that's what my kids call them. Oh, there you go. They call them wankus. I don't know. All right. I probably don't need to eat them. It's a very American thing. Very boring at the moment. No trades on for me. I need to see a little Momo first. All the morning stuff was great. Yeah, Apple's rocketing. Apple is holding things up here. And I think they just, nope, not yet. They almost tapped their high of the day. So it's same thing with the range. Watch what happens when they tap the algorithmic high there in this mid or lower 183. The big Gex level's right up here too. Right up here too. $16,513. Oh man, the Dow is all large cap, right? It's a mixture, but my thought my point was the mega caps. Yes, the Dow does have some mega caps, but my point was the big mega caps that are heavily weighted in the Nasdaq were rotated out of and bought up the other stuff. I think what McDonald's I think is one of the top holdings if I remember right. Stuff like that. Any trades today? Currently don't have it. I took some trades this morning, including a very stupid $2,600 or $2,300. It ended up being $2,300. A stupid $2,300 error on my prop firm. But yeah, 2024 is already starting crazy. Yep, it is. The volatility, I've been telling y'all, man, the volatility will only get worse deeper and deeper into 2024 that we go. That's Dow. There you go. Yeah. Good gosh. Divided by 5.358. You're out of your mind. Sorry about that. My realtor just sent me a listing for 5 acres of property. $101,000 an acre. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was made of gold. Side note. Anyway, yeah, we're back to VWAP. Again, we're not really showing anything. What I'm tracking here is any kind of shift in sentiment on the order book. That's it. I need the skew. The skew. Period. Right now, the book is very balanced on ES. In the short term and the long term here, we've got the stuff here 47.70. Nasdaq ain't got nothing except this little crap down here. So, not too much of a heavy skew. I'm looking for something to kind of drive sentiment. Go from there. So, don't feel bad. I made an error also. There you go. Entering 90 March puts for TLT. I'm with you. I'm with you. I still think TLT is going to see some pressure. Well, hope you did good, Damien. Hope you got back out of it. Apple is rejecting their high of the day. I say rejecting very lightly there. I'm positive for the month, but that's all that matters. There you go. Hey, that's amazing. You keep it up, and you're 1/12 of the way there for profitability on the year. Well done. What's up, Isaac? How you doing, buddy? Madnisms in trading. You mark the top of the range, and boom, you take a trade. Yeah. Nasdaq is climbing up here. Very, very slowly. So there's your accumulation. technically we still are in this little wedge here, but the bottom wicks are working with Apple on the rule there. Climbing up. Working through your educational videos, trying to get back in the market. Let me know if you have any questions, Isaac. Got a lot of good content on there. Coming along here. Love seeing new faces. They're waiting for me to sign off again before moving it down? Yeah, probably. Probably. $16,519 here. Still no change on the iceberg. ES is still pinging up against 47.55 liquidity. This morning's liquidity worked very well. They had a 47.40, had a whole bunch right here, transacted and then bounced. CL oil. Anybody have CL's Bookmap readily available? I don't have it loaded at the moment. Curious what they got. So far, so good. I traded actively in the options and short term a while back, but this time around I want to be way more disciplined. Less trades overall, trading takes less risk. Better with placing stop loss. Nice. Yeah, the one. If I had to give an overarching theme for my channel and for my style of trading, is that I do not have any crazy indicator or whatever I could pitch to you. It's all about risk management. Everything that I teach is centered around the principle of risk management, managing your trades and managing yourself. If you can manage yourself, you can manage your trades. That's it. That's it. It all boils down to that. Position sizing with absolute discipline. And honestly, it comes down to, once the pain of I just completely lost my train of thought here, but something about make sure you change. There you go. Happy New Year. First day back. No trades this week. No FOMO. Nice. That just means you're one of the few who doesn't gamble the market. Nope. Gambling doesn't pay the bills. That's for sure. Doesn't pay the bills. The telephone bills. 47.49. Oh, man. Another iceberg come on right there. Took it off, canceled it. 16,515. So we had a top wick smash back down, held VWAP, and holding. I'm going back through my trades in 2021 and 22. Good reminder of what not to do. There you go. There you go. If you need to go back and look, do it. Looking back on the trades is absolutely crucial. Amazing. Man, NASDAQ loves VWAP today, doesn't it? Just hovering all around VWAP all day. All morning, I should say. 16,520. Oh, man. Manage yourself before you damage yourself. Yep. That's very much in line with the great philosopher Ice Cube. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's very much applicable in trading. I will not be on the stream from tomorrow until 1:15 as I found a partner to do my year-long trip. I love it, Damien. I'm happy for you, man. That's going to be awesome. Enjoy your trip. Enjoy your trip. Big green candle broke out right there, right on VWAP. So held it and boom, rocketed. Still pretty slow stuff. I'm up $650 across 7 accounts. Nice vent. I love it, buddy. Did you say you got a withdrawal approved? Well done. I'm taking a break from trading. I have discipline issues exiting when trades go against me. Yep. The thing to help with that is to predefine your trades. When you get in a trade, you tell yourself no matter what, when the price action hits that level, I'm out. Or if I see this candle, I'm out. Predefine and hold to it. Discipline. Red reversal right there. Pop into it and locked it and drop it. Very tight action. Another iceberg. Well, I ain't got nothing for y'all, man. This is pretty terrible stuff. CL is 72.25. ES is still breaking. Oh, ES is breaking down a touch after a very slow, choppy move up to 47.50. See the 15-minute chart right here, right back to VWAP. I think this was... No. This was a similar action to yesterday in terms of the midday. We kind of stuck to VWAP throughout the entirety of yesterday's session. And then eventually rejecting and falling off about 40, 50 points in NASDAQ at the end. But overall, inside day. Still holding 1620. 4,700 is likely support, but under 4,700 lies the chance of a larger vol spike leading to reflective selling into January 19th OPEX. I'll write about this in our AM note. Interesting. Yeah, ES is SPX is holding up 4,700 like a champ. That's 3 attempts, bouncing right off of it. Big dog stuff. 5. ES is not back over VWAP yet. And we're seeing the bottom wick still continue. Watch what's going to happen. It's going to bottom wick until it finally decides to move, and then down she wrote. That's all she wrote. That's a couple of tweezers right there on the 5. Double doges on oil. If you're looking for a 50 rejection on oil, there it is, by the way. Right on the 50. Right on the 50. If Apple can reduce some a little bit here, we might see some retracement. But other than that, man, ain't moving. Ain't moving. There. Winter animals don't bother you. Nice, cool. Well, make sure you take lots of pictures, Damien. I want to see them all. And videos. Get you a GoPro. I'll watch it. So they were, nope, no, he's still there. He's still there. $16,518. Well, what do y'all think we're going to the end of the day? Let's take a look at the daily chart. What does it look like? Another attempt at this level with very abysmal volume. Still have some top wicks on NASDAQ. We have about 50 seconds until this candle closes. 5 minute. We'll see what the next cycle brings us. Theta decay at its best. Yeah, premium riders right now. The daily says down. We'll see how this thing closes today. Another iceberg came up, 580.32. Apple's going back up, about to break highs. $522. Looks like a doji on the ES daily. Yep, right now it is. A little bit of green, a little bit of red, back to middle. NASDAQ is barely hanging on to some red action here. So slow. 14 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm sure we'll have something kick off here. It is now 1:45. Tomorrow we have non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll before the market opens, so that's going to be a mover. That's typically the biggest news catalyst we have aside from the obvious stuff like CPI and FOMC and stuff. Although CPI is kind of a non-event nowadays. Unemployment rate as well, so we got a lot going on tomorrow morning. And then at 10 o'clock we've got ISM non-manufacturing. And then we have FOMC barking, who's going to do some barking at 1:30. TTM squeeze firing on the 3 and the 5 SPYX sectors. Not sure which way it'll go. There you go. Yeah, I used to use the TTM squeeze. I took it off once we entered into a bear market back in 2021. The end of 2021. Too much volatility does not work well for past looking indicators like that. Interesting. Non-farm payroll tomorrow. We have a whole bunch of liquidity tomorrow for GEX at 476 on SPY, which would put us in 7 points higher, 6.5 points higher at the moment. Bummer. Bummer price action. 524. We are building right back up to the morning high of 533. ES is 4750, doing the same thing into VWAP. What does 476 GEX mean? That is the amount of options exposure in terms of GEX at 476 SPY. So when I'm tracking the GEX level, my intent is to track the overall positioning of the collective big money on SPY. So they go through the options chain and they say, all right, well, collectively, the amount of GEX exposure is negative at 476. So that typically works as a bit of a target. Going into tomorrow, Friday, with non-farm, who knows? Maybe we bounce this up and we have a strong trend up day tomorrow. Overall, I don't really know. Man, it's been a while since I've seen Nasdaq move this slow. This is awful. I mean, we're pinned to 629 or 520, not even moving. It's slow. You're welcome, LeVar. I've got a great video on my YouTube channel about GEX, about exposure. If you want to take a look at it, it'll help you kind of drive home at least the overall basics of understanding GEX and other options chain data. Which is right there. A little bit of red. Coming back in. Probably going to bottom wicket. Earlier today, you said you would consider calls for tomorrow if this holds. Is that still true? Yes, it is. That is a possibility. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. The fact that we held 4,700, they're still holding it. Again, it depends on the close. It's a possibility. If we have another bearish close, then no, I won't. I won't do that. And of course, they bottom wicket. There you go. Beautiful. Apple and Amazon with healthy pullback sitting on top of the major supports could be a great long opportunity next week. Yeah, I'm with you. Especially with Apple being beat down like this. With Apple being destroyed like that on news downgrades, I'm very cautious to short that stuff and more apt to want to reverse that into a long. How did you learn everything you know about trading today? Birth by fire, man. Honestly, the more disciplined you are as a person, the better you can do at trading. I like to believe I'm a disciplined person. I like to pride myself on that. Obviously, I'm a man of faith as well, so I try to take as much off as my own shoulders as I can. But it's a lot of study, YouTube, reading, learning from others, eating a bunch of humble pie. You know, I've eaten so much humble pie. There's not enough ice cream in the world to put on the amount of humble pie I've eaten. And then learning from your mistakes, of course. You know, we call it market tuition, but if you don't learn from your mistakes, then it's not market tuition. It's just you being a jabroni. That's it. So, and then of course, you know, applied that over 12 years, going on 13 years. You know, it's been a long process. Now, I've had the benefit of having access to a good amount of money that I can put in the market and learn from without having to grind up from like $100 or something like that, for like some people do. I was fortunate, but it allowed me the opportunity to learn and learn with a lot of zeros behind it very early. I'm still, even in this position, I'm still of the opinion though, the number one way to trade is long-term investing. Buy SPY in other S&P indexes and forget about them for 30 years, and you can't beat that unless you're Nancy Pelosi. If your grandma's Nancy Pelosi, then there's your investing strategy right there. All right, so coming into the top of the hour here, which you might have a little fluctuation of price action, we've got a move down to 16,510. Did you jump into the deep end and just quit being a pilot? No, I'm still a pilot. Agafly, I'm a pilot. Now, I've actually been trading longer than I've been a pilot. So I was trading first, and then I became a pilot. So this is my first love and my first actually, if you can call it a profession, my first profession. I've been trading pretty much my entire adult life. All right, here's some red again. Broke the little wedge we got going on here. We see this. coming off this kind of little doohickey right here. Back off right off VWAP. Still pretty slow action, but regardless, we dropped about 20 points. We got about 3 minutes till we wrap up the stream here. Tanks after I leave. Yeah, unfortunately I have to leave at the top of the hour, so at which point it probably will move. I have to hop off and jump in my truck and head to the dentist, so I won't be able to take part in any action if it does occur. Literally, like the second I get off the stream, I have to go. So be on guard. OGM, yeah. Overall, we're not missing much. That's another defensive 16,500. My thought process for tomorrow is I don't know. Tomorrow depends on today's close. We do have non-farm payroll tomorrow, which is one of the biggest catalysts we usually deal with. Sometimes it's been sometimes it's been a nothing burger, sometimes it's been a big mover. Well, we got to see. Other than that, we have a lot of GEX at 476. We have the buyers defending 4,700 on SPX like it's going out of style, and we're glued to VWAP here. So the buyers are doing their job of holding this up. They're holding this from going further down. So the buyers are present, and if we have a bullish close, it's a possibility we could have a green move into tomorrow. We will see, especially after 3-4 red sessions here, which uncommon to get a 5th red session. We look at lower lows than our morning lows. I don't expect lower lows today. It could happen, yes. From a probability standpoint, I would look for relative low. So anywhere in this ballpark, I would say was most likely going to be the bounce if it comes down. Obviously, it could put a new low, but somewhere in this ballpark, a couple of points. I would not expect a big trend down afternoon. I just wouldn't expect that. It could happen again, but I would be surprised to see it. That's our morning low price, by the way. All right, so we're wrapping up the last 30 seconds. Any questions, comments? I know it's been a pretty dull, boring session. Sometimes it happens. But if you think of anything that I didn't answer or I didn't get to, then shoot me a DM. I'll be happy to help you out or answer the questions, especially if it's anything about Bookmap. So right now, we do see this iceberg still. I've been tracking all morning at 16,485. Very, very small, though. ES is still putting on 46.75 and 70 liquidity up top with a small iceberg here, but small potatoes. Other than that, slow session, very low volume session. In fact, right now, we've only got about 2 hours left in the market, and we're only at half of yesterday's volume, roughly. So there you go. That is the top of the hour. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you're on Bookmap here, I will see you all back next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for another session of applying Bookmap. Hopefully we can get a little more trading next week. So, love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. I'm out. See ya!